Just real quick before I get into the actual topic for today, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I highly suggest you do so. You can click right up here to get that. Now, if you want to subscribe to our newsletter and become part of the Fed retirement planning community, I'd highly suggest you do that as well. You can click up here and be taken to a link to sign up for that, where you're gonna be given ebooks, resources, cheat sheets, and up-to-date content on everything that you need as a federal employee to take control of your career and also your retirement. Today I'm going to talk about a question that I keep getting, and it's in relation to a very short period of time, and that time is the FEGLI open season. And I'm going to answer whether you should get more insurance during FEGLI open season or not. So FEGLI open season is upon us. This is a very short period of time that only happens, I don't know how they decide how these happen, but they happen very little. In fact, the last one was in 2004. The one before that was in 1999. These rarely happen. So if you want federal employee group life insurance, now is the time. Now, the question I keep getting is, should I get federal employee group life insurance? Well, without knowing more about your situation and more about, what your family situation is, how much money you make, how much you have in assets, everything like that really go into truly dissecting whether you need life insurance, how much you need, and where you should purchase it from, I would say this. Look at the cost of federal employee group life insurance and get a quote from somebody else. Oftentimes what you're going to find is federal employee group life insurance is overly expensive. Now, when I say overly expensive, it's not so much overly expensive now. So if you're young, let's say you're 35, 40 years old, your federal employee group and life insurance is going to be rather cheap. However, when you look at the long term and you start to price out exactly what it's going to cost you from now, age 45 till you turn 65 when you retire, somewhere around there, it's going to get very expensive, grossly expensive. And I'm going to show you that today, actually. So what we see here is actually a calculator I created in Excel to show kind of the cost differences, not just over the short term, but over the long term. I have not been able to find anywhere online that shows the actual cost over the lifetime of FEGLI. All you really find is how much it costs over, you're 35 to 40 years old or 50 to 55, just those short 5-year increments. So what I'm doing actually here, at the top you can see this is age 35. This is a federal employee, male who is age 35 and currently makes $75,000 a year. So that would give them, if they have option B times 5, they'd have $375,000 in death benefit. So what I did was I calculated the cost for B times 5 over the lifetime and compared it to what, say, just a general 30-year term policy. I just went and got a quote for a guy that was in normal health at age 35 in a 30-year term policy, because oftentimes term is what I suggest simply because it's cheaper, and I really think that insurance is not the best vehicle for investments. I'd rather see that money go into something like the TSP or an IRA, and then use whatever's left over for term life insurance. So what I'm showing here, as you can see, is we've got from 35 to 40, he's only paying basically 16 bucks, okay? Now when you look over at a commercial life policy, as you can see, this is quite a bit more, okay? So this is $47.96. So it's quite a bit of a big difference. However, you're paying the same cost over your entire life on this side, whereas with FEGLI over here, it goes up every year, and it goes up quite dramatically. As you can see down here, if you were 75 years old, you'd be paying around $1,400 for the same insurance you were paying $16 for, 30, 40 years ago. So with a 30-year term policy, if they take out a 30-year policy, over the lifetime of this policy, they're going to pay $15,539.04. Okay, so that is over a 30-year period. If you look at the FEGLI, over the same 30-year period, they're going to pay $25,731. That's an almost $10,000. That's actually over $10,000 difference, simply because they decided to go with a term policy versus staying with FEGLI. Okay, so I'm going to show you the exact same example that I just did, but instead of age 35, I'm going to show you age 50. And now, so everything's the exact same. It's a male, age 50. They're making $75,000. They've got $375,000 under option B insurance. And I'm comparing it to $375,000 in a term life policy, and this is actually a 20-year term policy. So what I'm looking at here, if somebody chose option B at age 50, option B times 5, they're making $75,000. They would be paying around $89.25. If we look over the 20-year period from age 50 to age 70, they would pay $72,225. That is a lot of money for, you know, $375,000 in life insurance. I mean, that's a lot of money. That's pretty astronomical. Now, if we look over here, I got a quote for somebody in normal health for $375,000 at age 50. Now, just a disclaimer here, these aren't necessarily what you would get, or this isn't, you know, this is just for educational purposes. I don't want anybody coming down my back or anything like that. This is simply for educational purposes, but I'm showing that at age 50, a term policy, a 20-year term policy would cost around $117.92. Now that's a little bit more than they would be paying at 50, but those who are smart and look at the long-term perspective, not just the short-term, realize, holy shnikes, I'm going to be paying a lot more over that 20-year period if I choose FEGLI option B. So if we look down here, we've got $29,715.84. That's how much they would pay over that 20-year period. And actually, I'll just show you a comparison. We'll subtract them from each other just to show you the difference. That's a $42,509.16 difference, simply because they chose commercial insurance versus FEGLI option B times 5. That's a huge difference. As you can see, the difference in cost between FEGLI and commercial insurance is vastly different. Now, I showed term quotes. There's whole life insurance, there's universal life insurance, there's return of premium insurance, there's all types of insurance. But what I was showing was term life insurance, because I typically think that if you buy term, invest the rest. That's what I believe is best, looking at prices and investments and things like that. So these are kind of the differences. Now, I would say this, if you want some insurance but you're not sure if you can qualify for commercial life insurance, go ahead and buy FEGLI, because you can drop FEGLI at any time. Get a quote from a commercial life insurance agent, and then go back and decide if you want to either take the commercial life insurance or get rid of FEGLI or keep FEGLI. Okay, but this has been Cooper with FedRetirementPlanning.com. We'll see you next time.